Alright, hey YouTubers and all the RGX supporters. Alright, today, I know if you guys have seen it, I'm going to show you again, the bearing tool. Well, we got something new to add to the bearing tool. Cool. Anyway, also, if people aren't really too sure, here's an Orion type motor. We're going to change out the bearing today, but it's also been, this is for a customer, it's also been set so that way it could have the lowered head, like an RGX type head. And as you can see, boom. And well, you know, I got to put the but that's where it sits. So that way it's lowered. The stock one sits about right here. I know it seems, but this one, if you want to run a lowered head, so now they can run, you know, if they have one of these and other ones and stuff. Anyway, enough of that. So anyway, a lot of people asked, and we've sold thousands of these other ones, but they want to know, hey, Blade, I need a more aggressive bearing tool, because the other one kind of slips. Sometimes I got to heat it up, and it's like, hey, you know, I totally understand, and you know, I've been there myself. So what we have is a new one. Now, a lot of people ask, you know, how can we get it to where I can make it as inexpensively as possible? You know, I didn't want to shoot the price for the whole entire kit up to, like, you know, the $100 mark, you know, like the hoodie and the Nova and everything. Wanted to be able to still make it to where you can leave the front bearing in if you just had to replace the back bearing, all that other good stuff. So, been over in the RGX cave trying to figure this out, and we came up with this one. And it's basically a bolt, and we remachined the bolt so that way it'll be easier to work with, and it's shorter, and that way it'll fit in the engine. And then we have this, just the one insert, and it's basically like, you know, have you ever seen the tailpipe expanders? Same kind of concept basically. So this is basically a new deal we got here, similar to the hoodie, but not as fancy. Like I said, you just want to keep it simple and as inexpensive as possible. So, anyway, how this works, and again, you know, you got to be careful how you, because if you expand this without paying attention, it will lock to the inside. Anyone will. So anyway, you take this and you'll insert it into your motor. Take your tools, and you'll take your 5/32 and tighten it slightly, not a lot, just slightly, and it'll hook. You'll feel it kind of hook onto the bearing, and when you feel that, just a little bit more, and you'll be able to feel it hook on the bearing, and that way it'll be loose. So when you have it about right there, give it just a little bit, and don't crank it down. You know, there's no need to crank it down. So then you'll feel it, because it'll be in there. It'll spin on the bearing. Now you just take your bolt or the nut, bring this down, and we have it chamfered so that way it'll sit into the. Now in some cases you may need a wrench to hold this. Okay, there's other ones on the market where they have, like, but you know, I'm sure it's probably easy if you got a wrench. You know, all that other good stuff. Now this will be hard to turn, and instead of like other ones, see, I just happen to use my screwdriver, put it through there. Like I said, I made this to keep it as inexpensive as possible. And then you take this, turn it, bearing is out. Now let's take this one. And you take this and just pinch it closed a little bit. Like I said, this is the rough prototype, but then your bearing's out. Boom. Okay, let's get rid of that one. So, like I said, this one was pretty trash. You can, now let's take a nice brand new shiny one. Ooh, ceramic. Hoo-hoo. All right. Now, but let's say you need to take out that front bearing too. Again, I'm going to show you how easy. And so for some of you, you may already have this. Some of you don't. This is how easy it is to take your bearings out and put them in. So in this particular case, we need to take out the front bearing. Now, you can also have the rear bearing in. You don't have to take out your bearing. You can go either way. So, which is really cool about this one. So what you do is you'll have this little insert. Put that one on there. Put this one in. And this will fit. Even if you had the rear bearing, this will, it'll fit. See? So you can actually have the bearing on there. So take that. Goes in through there. Our other part of our tool. And your bearing is out. Okay, this is how easy it is. And I've used this one a lot of times in the field where I've had a motor and had to replace the bearing. I had to do it a couple times last year at Silver State. It was like, uh-oh. And I did it on the fly. No heat, no nothing. Anyway, now, you want to put that rear bearing, you want to put the bearing back in. Not a problem. You can either have the rear bearing in or you don't have to have it in. In any case, you'll be putting this one in, your rear spacer or the rear tool, and even if the bearing's out, and then you'll be taking your long bolt, and this has a raised edge, so that way it'll be pushing on the bearing race, the outer race. It just doesn't hammer on it. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. This one was already good, but I wanted to show you how easy it was to take out. And unlike other engine modifiers, I actually make tools, so that way, it's good for you because, hey, it's kind of fun working on the motors and stuff, And this is all I do, I'm a machinist, Have fun. Anyway, okay, so bearing is in. Oops, sorry, stepped on the power cord. My bad. Oops. Anyway, okay, so you have your, let me show you again real quick. So you have your, and it brings the bearing down. Tighten this up, bearing goes down. Okay, so now you want to put in the rear bearing. Now when you put in the rear bearing, you got to make sure that the balls will actually face to the outside. So they have to face outside. So when you put them in, make sure don't put them in facing this way because that way they won't get the lubrication and stuff that they need, vice versa. So you'll put balls facing out, put it onto your bearing tool. Install that. Take this part, because you don't want to force it down, you want it to be flat, just turn it around. That way it'll have the support of the entire face of this right here. And you're all set. And again, you're ready to rock and roll. Put your crank in, and you're all set. There it is. One bearing set in there. Front one, you're ready to go. And like I said, this one was for a customer, and they wanted to be able to use the RGX heads on an Orion type motor. Pretty cool, huh? So they'll take those and actually take a lowered head. This was a CRF or CF, one of the older series motors, but it was still good. It was in good shape, and it didn't need to be modified. Just needed to be retuned. In any case, but actually it had been sent to another motor guy, and he said that it was no good. But it's actually good. He just didn't know how to tune it. At any rate, all right. So, and then when you put it all back, when you go to put it in your pit box, just slip this back on there. Put this back on. Then you have that part and that part, and that's it. That'll take your bearings out. Put your bearings in. Again, This is like from hundreds of letters. People would ask, well, you know, it's like the other one, wow, you know, it's working really good for me. If you already have the other ones and you just need this one, you know, send me an email, razorgraphics23@hotmail.com. I'll probably have it over here in the credits and stuff. And $25, and we'll get this one out to you. Okay, for a whole entire kit, this one right here, $45, and you'll be gonna have them for a limited time until we totally run out of material. We got to buy a whole grip load again. We've got a whole bunch left. These right now are made on demand. Like I said, there's probably about good 2,000 of these floating around worldwide, along with our engines that we're not really doing right now. Taking a break from that. However, like I said, these two is in response to making it a little bit easier. So that way you can, it's simple, straightforward. You can use your existing tools. Like I just used a tuning screwdriver. I believe this is a Losi type 1, and you know, if you have another one, you can. So that way you can unscrew it, because the bearing will be hard to pull out. And the tools you'll need for your bearing install, you'll need a 3/16 and a 5/32. But most people will usually already have these, so we don't sell these. We can order them, we can sell them, but they're only like you can get them like Harbor Freight, places like that, and you'll have them for your bearing tools. So at any rate, I hope this was able to help. I hope the new tool will help, because like I said, it's already, we've been trying it out in the field last several big races. I get a lot of people when we go down to the big events. People need motor work, stuff like that. They'll come over to our pit. It's always busy. The only time it's not is when I'm actually out on the driver's stand. So if you have any questions or you're curious, write me. I don't allow comments on the because it's just too much. So if you have any questions or anything, please write me at razorgraphics23@hotmail.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can and try to answer all your questions and get back to you as soon as I can. Also, too, if you want to start running lowered heads, like say you got some old Novarossi heads or something like that, you got some other ones, or you got let's say you got a P5 and you want to run a lowered head on it, and you got an old BTT head or something like that. Well, you can send us the case. Take out everything out, send us the case. $25. We can take care of that for you and send it right back to you. Okay. All right. Well, I hope this is some informative help, and like I said, get back to me when you can. And I'd like to say thanks to everybody for the support. Wow, it's been like totally awesome and great, man. I can't even express how good it is on all the support that I've been getting. It's been really, really good. I can't even thank everybody enough. So I really appreciate that. And I'll have some more videos really soon. This one's just kind of like a real quick thing, and we'll get back to you. Okay? All right. Thanks again.